Temporal classification. Temporal, the word itself means time. Whenever things are presented in a beautiful manner, it will be very attractive and it will be in a meaningful form to take up the decision. When the data is arranged in a row and column wise, then it becomes tabular presentation of data. Hello everybody, I am Divya, lecturing Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. Today we are all joining for this wonderful session. I welcome you all to the session 1 on presentation of data in statistics for economics. So this chapter is very important for you all. So in this chapter we will be able to understand how the organized data can be presented in a comprehensive form. So without wasting a time, let's move to today's session. So the topic for today's discussion are introduction, textual presentation of data, tabular presentation of data, diagrammatic presentation of data. Data collected and organized will be in a large quantity. So in the previous chapter, we have understood how the organization of data will be done and what are the different classifications. We have already discussed that. In today's class, we will be discussing about how the presentation of data will be done. So presentation of data simply means putting the things in an organized manner, presenting in a comprehensive form. Data collected and organized will be large quantity. So in whatever the data, primary data and the secondary data we have collected, it will be in the large quantity. So that has to be put in a comprehensive form of presentation. So whenever things are presented in a beautiful manner, it will be very attractive and it will be in a meaningful form to take up the decision. In this chapter, you will be able to understand how the presentation of data will be done. So presentation of data will be done in a 3 form. One is textual presentation of data. It is also called as descriptive presentation, tabular presentation of data and diagrammatic presentation of data. So let's see one by one. So when the data is presented in words, in text, it is called as textual presentation of data. So the data are descriptive in this form. For example, in a Bandh call given on 8th September 2005, protesting the hike in the price of petrol and diesel, 5 petrol pumps were found open and 17 colleges and schools were closed and remaining 9 schools were found open in a town of Bihar. So what is this 8th September and the 5 petrol pumps, 17 closed? What are all these? All these are the numerical facts, numerical data that is represented in a textual form. The data when it is descriptive, the data when it is explained in a textual form, then it is called as textual presentation of data. Moving forward, we have tabular presentation of data. So when the data is arranged in a row and column wise, then it becomes tabular presentation of data. So in a tabular presentation of data, data are presented in row and column wise, rows and column wise. So when the data are presented in the form of table, it is called as what? Tabular presentation of data. The most important advantage we have in tabular presentation of data is it is very much helpful for us for the further statistical analysis because the table is bifurcated based on certain classification. The classifications are based on what? That can be seen as qualitative classification, quantitative classification, temporal classification and spatial qualities. Based on the qualities, based on their attributes, based on the geographical location, the data will be classified and bifurcated in a tabular. It is presented in a tabular form. That is called as tabular presentation of data. Moving forward, we have when the data are classified. So this we have already discussed in the previous chapter when we have discussed the organization of data. So when the data are classified based on the characteristics such as age, such as the gender, so when based on the attributes, based on the characteristics, when the data are classified, then it is called as qualitative classification. So based on age, let's assume that age 5, age 6, age 7 and age 8. So these are the age we have, and when we present the number of students that is there in our school, that is 50, that is 60, 70, 80. So this is school, students at school. So what the bifurcation we have done? We have done the bifurcation of different categories of age and the students in the school. So we have 5 age group, we have 50 students, we have 6 age group, that is 60 students, and 7 age group we have 70 students, and 8 age group we have 80 students in our school. So this kind of classification, when we do it based on characteristics, based on the qualities such as age, gender, sex, nationality, based on all these if we do, then this kind of classification is called as what? Qualitative classification. This kind of classification is called as what? Qualitative classification. Moving forward, we have quantitative qualification. Quantitative qualification means based on numbers. When the classification is done or the table is arranged in a row and column wise, when it is done, then it is called as what? Quantitative classification. When you express only the numerical facts such as years, such as numbers, then it is called as what? Quantitative classification. So in quantitative classification, the data are classified based on what? Based on quantitative, based on numbers, based on height, weight, income, so that when it is expressed in a quantitative form, then it is called as quantitative classification. Moving forward, we have temporal classification. Temporal, the word itself it means time. When the data are classified based on time, so when you are wanted to categorize the time, that is hours, day, week, month and years, etc. When you have to classify the data based on time, then it is called as temporal classification. Moving forward, we have spatial classification. Space, the word itself says what? It is geographical classification. When the data are classified based on geographical location such as town, block, district, state and country, then it becomes what? Spatial classification or geographical classification. Moving forward, we have tabulation of data and parts of a table, as I have told you. So in the first presentation, what was it? It was about the textual presentation of data, and when we discuss the second part, it is tabular presentation of data. Tabular presentation simply means putting or the data or arranging the data in a row and column wise. When we arrange the data in row and column wise, it becomes tabular presentation of data. What is this tabulation? Presenting the data in row and column along with some explanatory notes. So when we discuss about the parts of the table, so I will be explaining you what is explanatory notes. So when you, along with the explanatory notes, when you present the data in a row and a column wise, then it becomes what? Tabular presentation of data. Rows are horizontal arrangement and columns are vertical arrangements. So this is rows and this is columns. Okay, so if this way if we present the data, then it is row, and this way if we do, it is a column. Moving forward, what are the different parts of a table? So here we will be able to understand what are the different parts of a table. So what is a table? How many parts it contains and why it is so important? So we have table number. So what is this table number? This table number will be above the table. So in the next slide, we will be discussing about the parts of a table in a diagrammatic representation. So in your examination, if they ask you construct a table along with the parts of a table, you must be able to draw or construct a table along with the explanatory notes. So this is a table number. So this table number represents the entire table. So it will be helpful for the easy identification. And next we have a title. Title, it stays here on the top of the table, which explain what is the name that has been given to a particular table, what it contains, what are the representative form. Here we have taken the Census of India 2001 statistics and we are representing it in a tabular form. So when we are put into a table number and when we have given the table number, the next thing we have to give is title of the table. So what is the title? Population of India according to workers and non-workers by gender and location. So we have bifurcated the gender and the location, who are the workers and who are the non-workers. So this is the name that we have given for the table. That is the second part of a table. The third one is head note. So what is this head note? Head note stays here. So that will be units, that will be crores. If we are mentioning the numbers in a crores or unit, that is called as head note. And next is caption or column heading. So caption or column heading. So this is called as what? Column heading or captions. So what is this? These are the columns. As I have told you, location, gender, main, total, workers, non-workers, and this total. What is this? This is a column wise representation of data. When you do column wise representation of data, you give column heading, or it is also called as captions. Next we have stubs or row heading. Row heading, as I have told you, these are the rows. So it will be next to the body of the table, that is row heading. So you give all the rows a name, a heading. It is called as stubs, that is location, rural, urban. Also all this is what? Row heading, or it is called as stubs. Next part of a table we have, that is the main part of a table we have, is body of a table. So this is the entire body of the table. So this is the numerical facts based on which the company, the government, the stakeholders, everybody takes up the decision. So this is the main part of a table. Next we have source note. So source means from where we have taken the data. So that is nothing but here it lies below the table. So source note indicates from where we have taken the statistics, from where we have taken the sources. That is from the Census of India in 2001, whatever the data we have got through census method, we have taken that data. So that will be represented. So this source note will help for the further statistical analysis as well as for the research purpose. Next we have footnote. Whatever the thing is there below the table, whatever the thing which is there will be represented in a footnote. Figures are rounded to nearest crore. So whatever the information that is left over in the table can be written in the footnote. So entire thing is called as a part of a table. So in your examination, if they ask you, you must be able to construct a table and provide the table number, title for the table, columns, stubs, source note and footnote. Moving further, we have diagrammatic presentation of data. So diagrammatic presentation of data is the third method of presentation of data. So this is the third method of presentation of data. So in this, we will be representing in a pictorial form. We will use pie chart, we will use curves, we will use line graph, we will use arithmetic bar graph, we will use bar graph. So in this we will be using ogive curve. So all these are the different diagrammatic representation we do, and this is a third method in your presentation of data. So this methods provide the quickest understanding. Why? Because pictures are very attractive, and when you see the picture you will be able to understand it in a very clear and a comprehensive manner. So for that it is very quickest understanding form of presentation of data, of actual situation to be explained by the data in comparison with the tabular and textual presentation of data. When you compare it with the tabular presentation, textual presentation, diagrammatic presentation plays a very important role because pictures always attract. There are various kinds of diagram in common use. We have geometric diagram, frequency diagram, arithmetic line graph. We have geometric diagram, frequency diagram, arithmetic line graph. So let us look at one by one how the diagrammatic presentation of data can be done. Arithmetic line graph. Arithmetic line graph is also called as time series graph. Why it is called as time series graph? Because it will analyze your time. It will make sure that the time is represented here. In this graph, time, hours, day, week, month, years is plotted in x-axis, and the value of the variable, that is time series data, will be plotted in the y-axis. So you will be having a graph, or in an Excel sheet you will be having a graph in this x-axis and y-axis. So you will be having a graph in this x-axis and y-axis. So in this, if you plot, then it becomes arithmetic line graph. Moving forward, let's assume that we have a data of a year is given and the profit. So what is the year? The year is 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. So years are given and we have the profit that is there. So what is the profit for 2009? It is 60 and 72, 75. We have 65, 80 and 95 altogether. So this is the data that is given. So in the question they will ask you construct a arithmetic line graph. So then what you have to do in your graph sheet, you have to plot the x-axis and y-axis. So for y-axis you have to provide the scale, and the scale of y-axis is one big square, that is 10 units. So you have to take how much? 0 to 10, that is 10 units you have to take. 1 centimeter, 10 units. And what is in 2009, in 2010, 2013 and 14. So in 2009, what is the profit we have got? 60%. So where is 60? We are plotting here. And next we have 72 in 2010, we have 75 in 2011, and 2012 65, and 2013 it is 80, and 2014 it is 95. So in this way what you're going to do, you will be able to plot the graph. You will be able, you'll join all these points, and while joining these points you'll draw a line like this, and this line is called as what? Arithmetic line graph. Moving forward, the other method we have is geometric. We have geometric diagram, that in that geometric diagram we have bar diagram and pie diagram. So what comes into the picture? Bar graph or bar diagram, pie chart comes to the picture. So in this, what is this bar graph? It is nothing but a rectangular form of presentation. It is what? A rectangular form of presentation. The heights of this will explain the magnitude of change in the data. The height of the bar graph will explain the magnitude of the data. Moving forward, we have a data given, that is the games and the expenditure that has been happened. Okay, so what is the games we have? We have football, hockey, cricket, basketball and volleyball. So the data has been given for about all the games. And what is the expenditure that has been incurred? It is 3, 4, 6 and 5. Let's assume it is in the lakhs. So 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 6 lakh and 5 lakhs. So what is the data given? The games that has happened and what is the expenditure that has incurred for conducting each game? It is 3 lakh, 4 lakh, 6 lakh and 5 lakh. So all this is a data that is given. So when you plot it in the graph sheet, that is x-axis and y-axis. X-axis represents the game, y-axis represents the expenditure. So what is the expenditure that has the scale we are taking is 1 centimeter, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so football is how much? It has incurred 3 lakhs. So we are drawing a bar graph here. And next we have hockey, cricket and this. When you are representing in a rectangular box, then it is this kind of presentation is called as what? Bar graph. It is geometric presentation of data. Moving forward, we have pie diagram. Pie simply means what? A circle. When you represent it in a circle form, then it becomes pie diagram. So pie diagram is another method of representing what? A statistical data. So in pie chart, you will represent the entire circle into a different parts. For example, we have 50%, 60% and 100%. So entire circle, and that will be represented into a different parts, and this kind of presentation is called as what? Pie diagram. So pie diagram will always be represented in percentage form. So what is the formula to calculate pie chart? Is the individual value divided by total value into 360. So the circle will be always what? 360. So 360 will be the thing, and the individual value will be 36, 72, 44 and 108. So this will be the individual value. Overall value, when you summarize the data, you will get the total value. So individual value divided by total value into 360, you will get certain value, and when that value is plotted into a circle, this becomes pie chart. So keeping it as in the point of radius, so you will construct the pie chart or pie diagram. Moving forward, we have frequency diagram. So what is this frequency diagram? When you have a grouped data, what is this grouped data? When you have the data like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, so this is called as what? Continuous series or grouped data. When you have a grouped data, you need to present it in a beautiful manner. So for this presentation, we have a frequency diagram. In this, we will be looking after the concept called histogram. So when the data is given in a grouped frequency distribution, generally we represent it in the form of histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve and the ogive curve. Moving forward, histogram. Histogram is similar to the bar graph that we have discussed in the previous slide. Here the only difference is you will plot it for the grouped data. So here the gap will not be there for the data representation of bars. This kind of representation will be your histogram. This is your histogram. Let's assume we have a class interval. Class interval is 9.5 to 9.7, 9.8 to 9.10, 9.11 to 9.13. So what is this 9.5, 9. It is inclusive class interval. So we have discussed this in the previous class. If you want to know what is inclusive and exclusive method, please visit my previous lecture and again see what is inclusive method and what is exclusive method. So this is inclusive method of class interval. So this kind of data, if it is given, the frequency is plotted in the y-axis and this class interval will be plotted on the x-axis in your graph, and you will do your bar representation, rectangular form of representation, that is your histogram. Moving forward, we have frequency curve. The frequency curve is obtained by drawing a smooth freehand curve. When you draw a smooth freehand curve, then this kind of representation or the presentation of data is called as frequency curve, passing through the points of frequency polygon as closely as possible. It may not necessarily pass through all the points of the frequency polygon, but it passes them through closely as possible. So in your frequency polygon, you just draw a freehand curve, that is called as frequency curve. Moving forward, we have ogive curve. This is also called as cumulative frequencies. It is also called as what? Cumulative frequencies. The ogive is defined as a frequency distribution graph of a series. So the ogive is a graph of cumulative distribution. So what is this cumulative? Cumulative means adding. Let's assume 1, 2, 3, 4 is given. Cumulative means adding. 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10. So when you add it, when you add the number, it becomes cumulative frequency. So by adding the frequencies, you get cumulative frequencies. So with the help of those cumulative frequencies, you represent it in a graph, and then you get this ogive curve. So moving forward, we have horizontal plane axis, and in that this vertical axis, in that this cumulative percentage or cumulative numbers will be plotted. Then you get this ogive curve. Moving forward, we have discussed so far all the concept of the presentation of data. Presentation simply means what? When you get a large number of data, you classify them. After classification, you have to neatly present it. Presentation simply means putting or giving it a comprehensive form. So when you present the data, it will become very meaningful for further statistical analysis, and it will be able to understand very easily, and you will be able to understand the topic and the concept when it is put in a good manner. That is called as presentation of data. In the presentation of data, we have discussed 3 methods of presentation of data: textual presentation of data, tabular presentation of data, and diagrammatic presentation of data. In textual presentation of data, only you are describing in the text the data, whatever you have got, you are describing in a textual form or in a descriptive manner. That is called as textual presentation of data. The only disadvantage we have in textual presentation of data is only when you have a small data, a small number of data, then only you can use textual presentation of data. Next, we have discussed the tabular presentation of data. In tabular presentation of data, we have discussed what is table, what are the different parts of a table, how to construct a table, what is source node, what is footnote. So when you bifurcate the data into row and column wise, then it becomes tabular presentation of data. So before tabular presentation of data, you have to classify based on the characteristics, based on time, based on geographical location. Then you can put it in a tabular form. And next form that or next method we have discussed is diagrammatic representation of data. In that we have discussed arithmetic line graph, what is bar graph, what is pie chart, what is histogram, ogive curve, frequency curve, and frequency polygon. So that's it for today's class. Hope everybody have understood the topic which I have explained today. The session was fruitful. Thank you so much once again, dear students, for joining today's class. Hope the session was fruitful. The session was very interesting, and the topic which I have explained you people, you have learnt it. So Vidhyaashram is there to help you out 24/7. Any doubts, any put it in the comment section, or we are there to help you out. Anything can be. We are available to help you out, my dear students. Thank you so much for watching once again. Smile is the biggest jewel you can wear. So keep smiling. Thank you.